Welcome back. You're watching Newsx. I'm Pratap Singh. Our big focus continues to remain on Prime Minister Modi's visit to France. PM Modi and the French President Emmanuel Macron have jointly inaugurated the Bharat Innovates 2026 in Nice, France, launching a major India-France initiative aimed at connecting India's emerging deep tech ecosystem with global investors, research institutions and industry leaders. Held under the aegis of the India-France Year of Innovation, Bharat Innovates brings together around 120 Indian innovators, nearly 15 higher education institutions, more than 500 investors, leading corporates, venture capital firms, global CEOs and technology leaders. The two leaders are also expected to hold bilateral meetings shortly. The first meeting since India and France elevated their ties to a special global strategic partnership earlier this year. Defense, technology, trade and innovation are expected to dominate, besides the two leaders exchanging views on key regional and global developments. And let's take a look now at the 12 key MoUs that are expected to be signed following bilateral deliberations between the two leaders. The reasons behind France's interest in India, as well as where India-France bilateral trade stands today. Well, let's quickly take you through those details emerging on, of course, the India-France partnership. First, of course, on that key meeting between Modi and Macron, the bilateral, of course, which precedes the G7 summit. The expected MoUs expected to be signed during this meeting are, of course, on technology cooperation to advance digital transformation and emerging innovations. Also on, if we quickly go to the next slide, on innovation partnerships to strengthen research, commercialization and growth. So a lot, of course, on the anvil, as you can clearly see here. Health tech collaboration also to expand digital healthcare access and solutions as well. Also medical technology agreements to improve diagnostic devices as well as patient outcomes. Now, artificial intelligence cooperation to drive responsible AI research and adoption as well. That is again another convergence area. Meanwhile, semiconductor partnerships to also enhance chip ecosystems and supply chain resilience for both sides as well. Also, space technology collaboration is to advance satellite development and exploration missions. Meanwhile, also startup ecosystem cooperation to be encouraged for entrepreneurship and, of course, also converge. Let's just quickly slow things down. We can complete before we move on. So clearly, of course, entrepreneurship, startup ecosystems to also be given a boost. Meanwhile, also academic research partnerships to foster scientific excellence and knowledge exchange as well. Meanwhile, industrial innovation agreements also expected to be signed. These will accelerate advanced manufacturing and technology transfer too. And digital skill collaboration is also on the cards to build future-ready talent as well as expertise. Meanwhile, strategic technology partnership also expected to deepen India-France cooperation across these sectors. So these, of course, are these expected MoUs, 12 in number, which are going to be signed in that bilateral meeting. Now, France's 12-point plan, of course, is very clear for India-French ties. They want to deepen defense cooperation with India. They want to take it to a completely new level. Also, France wants to expand civil nuclear energy partnership with India too. Secure critical minerals supply chains. These are all the reasons why Macron has invited Modi to France once again, why the two have been meeting so often in the last few years. Expand education, also exchange programs. That again is something that the French want. Also enable up to 30,000 Indian students in France by 2030. In fact, an event that Prime Minister Modi will be attending in Paris also concentrates on the higher education sector. They want to align on AI as well as digital regulation. And they also want to address global economic imbalances too. That is something that France, of course, is seeking to do. Also, a coordination being sought by them on public health challenges, how to mitigate these. There's clear coordination which is expected on that area. Also, counter-security threats need to be taken on, like trafficking and financial crime. That's also something that France is seeking cooperation on. Engaging on global conflicts like Ukraine and West Asia, there should be convergence in views. Is what France believes. Promotion of strategic autonomy and global rules should be shaped together. Boost technology and digital collaboration. That again is something that France intends to do, wants to do, and has been doing? And where do currently India-France bilateral trade figures stand at right now? Let's tell you. So the figures as per 2025-2026 financial year are this. India's exports to France stand at $7.10 billion. France's exports to India stand at $8.71 billion. That means the total bilateral trade is in the value of $15.81 billion between the two countries. That's quite a sizable figure. And of course, if we talk about the breakup of the exports of India to France, that consists of $1.14 billion in mineral fuels and oils. Electrical machinery and equipment is valued at $922 million. Aircraft, spacecraft and parts, $747 million is the value of our exports. Nuclear reactors, mechanical appliances, $696 million. And pharmaceutical products is $586 million in the exchange. Now let's quickly also show you France's exports to India, the breakup there. Aircraft, spacecraft parts, these form about $2.71 billion of our trade. Nuclear reactors and mechanical appliances valued at $1.34 billion. Electrical machinery equipment at $613 million. And medical parts and accessories at $392 million. Let me quickly bring in now for a perspective on this big story Ambassador Ashok Sajanar, former diplomat who's joining us live. Ambassador Sajanar, clearly, of course, a lot on the anvil on this visit to France by Prime Minister Modi. Where do you see the areas of convergence between both sides? Why is France so keen on the close partnership with India that Emmanuel Macron has been seeking and Prime Minister Modi has been reciprocating? What is going to be most significant in the MoUs and areas discussed in that bilateral meeting today? Ambassador Ashok Sajanar.
Yeah, thank you very much, Uday, for having me on the show. You're very right. There is a lot as far as the two countries can do together. And I think both the countries have realized this. That is why you will see that Prime Minister Modi was in France last year. I think when he had he'd also gone to Marseille, or opened the consulate general there. He was here again this time for the G7 as well as for the Bharat Innovates. And the French president was in India earlier this year. So I think there is, both the countries are very keen to take this partnership forward to a much higher level. You know, I think this is about the 8th time, if I'm not mistaken, that Prime Minister Modi is visiting France. And the only country that he would have visited more often than France would be the United States, which I think would be about 9 or 10 times. But, you know, the United States, of course, has the advantage that it has the United Nations also in New York. So for some meetings of the United Nations also, Prime Minister Modi has gone there. But what is on the agenda this time? Of course, bilateral issues. You've spoken a little bit about it in terms of the bilateral trade. Where does it stand? What are the possibilities? I would imagine that, you know, $15 billion is not all that handsome a figure if you look at the strong partnership between the two countries and the large number of areas where we work together, the large number of areas where we collaborate. It's also in the area of defense. It's in the area of technology. It's in the area of nuclear energy. We have this proposal that has been approved for the French Areva nuclear reactors to be established in Jaitapur. That has not happened for quite some time. And I think there is a huge investment also from the two sides. So I would imagine that, you know, $15 billion definitely has the potential to go up much further. So one is in terms of bilateral relations, but bilaterally also we have to look at what the global situation today is, Uday, because we know that as far as the transatlantic partnership for France is concerned, relations between the United States and Europe are concerned, that has been a strong pillar, whether it is in the area of economy, or it is in the area of technology, or it is in the area of defense, that is, undergirded by NATO. These have been very strong pillars of the collaboration and the partnership and the alliance relationship, in fact, between the United States and Europe. But that has been given a huge jolt over the last 1.5 years since Mr. Trump came to power. Meaning he did shake it up as far as NATO is concerned, saying that, it's last time when he was in office from 2017 to 2021, when he said that it is brain dead and all the countries need to contribute more. Only those who are paying up the United States will be responsible for their security, etc. But then this time that he has come, he has really pushed back very strongly, whether it is in the area of tariffs
Yes.
or it is in the area of support to Ukraine and
Right.
otherwise. So that is one area where both of us and India relationship also
Absolutely
has been given a jolt.
And the good thing is that the two leaders, of course, are on the same page with this elevation to whole new levels, with this targets to raise bilateral trade, and of course all the other convergence areas. Mithali Nikore, how significant is the trade partnership between India and France? Can we raise trade levels further to what I already mentioned? They are earlier, of course, on the broadcast. And as far as these MoUs are concerned, we're learning 12 in number. Which stand out for you, as the most timely ones, given the world order and things as we see it around us?
Absolutely, Uday. I think this meeting is about strengthening the political economy as well as the innovation economy. So I feel like France is one country that we all look up to globally as the one place where the research and development across different sectors has been cutting edge and has been giving a competition to their US counterparts. And I think this is an increasing sentiment within Europe that the dependence on the US, whether it's in the areas of technology, whether it's in the areas of electronics, whether it's in the areas of pharmaceuticals, whether it's in the areas of even defense equipment and machinery, agriculture, all of these are areas where Europe and the US have cooperated almost seamlessly in the last 3 to 4 decades. But now the ground beneath the feet of the Europeans has started to shift. And they are starting to feel the effects of President Donald Trump's, demands, where he's literally coming and saying, "Oh, if you want to be part of NATO, then this is how much you have to contribute, etc., etc." When in fact, Europe has been, the innovation engine even for many American companies. A lot of the engineers, a lot of the innovators come from Europe to the US to work in joint, projects. But that is reducing, and the space for innovation in the US is reducing. A number of European, universities really taking in those American researchers and housing the research now in Europe. So for India, this is a very important opportunity to come in and look at Europe as that engine of innovation and partner with them as the manufacturing partner, as the scale partner. Say, for example, a pharmaceutical company in France develops a new technology. They need a partner to, very cheaply pilot that new drug discovery. India can come in as an ideal partner there and really create a new formulation which can help the world. So today is the time when India and France are going to come together on a lot of these issues. I think pharmaceuticals is really one one very promising area. I personally feel renewable energy also a very promising area, because if you look at the way Europe has rolled out independent power production all over the country, whether it's in Switzerland, whether it's in France, whether it's in Germany, these are very important standout examples. And people say that, oh, India cannot be compared to these terrains. But if you look at the rural populations and how distant they are, and yet they have managed to connect them to the grid through the renewable energy networks, it is really something where we can have a comparison. Also, these countries can gain from the experiments that India is doing on ethanol blending, because
Okay.
today we've seen that Nitin Gadkari has come in and signed the motion on 100% ethanol blending in cars, and European cars could be amongst those which bring in ethanol friendly engine versions to India. So these are huge areas of possibility to increase trade between the two nations.
Absolutely. And what we've also, of course, seen is Emmanuel Macron, praise Prime Minister Modi's position as well, on many global events, including the rule of law. And of course, also there has been convergence over our efforts for peace in Ukraine, and peace, of course, in the Middle East as well, isn't it, Ambassador Sajjanar? And that's important, to have leaders on the same wavelength on that. That is something also that Emmanuel Macron has been seeking to do, and there has been convergence on that as well with PM Modi. Also, this free world order, this effort, to not weaponize trade and economic ties. That is again something where the two have converged on. And also on startups, innovation, and AI, France has also been trying to lead the race in Europe, and India has been similarly trying to lead the race, in South Asia as well, and not just South Asia, let me say in the global South as well. So do you see a lot of convergence as well between the two in terms of what Macron and Modi stand for on the world stage?
No, absolutely. I think you're very right. You put it very well, Uday. There is a huge synergy between not only the two leaders in terms of, you are showing on your screen the greetings between the two leaders when, President Macron comes just
Yeah,
now and
look at that
he
bonhomie.
greets.
Look at that bonhomie. Absolutely. You read body language, Ambassador Sajjanar, as a senior diplomat. Look at this bonhomie.
No, absolutely. I think it is the body language which really, as they say, a picture says more than 1,000 words, and also the sort of, the language that President Macron used when he was talking about Prime Minister Modi. So I think all this is, there is a huge chemistry, there is a huge rapport between the two leaders that, of course, speaks well. But even more than that, as Prime Minister Modi said when he was inaugurating Bharat Innovates, that it is not only a question of mutual interest that brings them together, but there is also mutual vision that has brought them together. So whether it is Viksit Bharat 2047 or the French vision of 2030, I think both the countries are in sync with each other, and this transcends, not only bilateral issues, because bilaterally, of course, as far as trade is concerned, technology is concerned, what President Macron said, what France has been able to do, what France has been able to achieve as far as technology is concerned, and how it is the leader in Europe as far as technology is concerned, and how, what is the sort of investment that France is getting every year. So that, these figures speak for themselves. And as far as Prime Minister Modi is concerned, he has spoken how the number of startups in India has really shot through the roof. And also in terms of the unicorns that we have been able to get. And the other important thing is that when India innovates, it is innovating for the global good. It is innovating for the betterment of the world. And I think in that context, both the countries have come together and they have been sort of collaborating, they have been working together. So the partnership between India and France, goes much beyond, just the bilateral issues, bilateral interests. But even as far as global issues are concerned, what we've been talking about in terms of the challenges that you find in terms of weaponization of trade, weaponization of tariffs, weaponization of energy. There is so much that has been happening, and India and France are on the same page. We think alike, and we are, so whether it is on our bilateral issues also, whether it is Kashmir issue in the United Nations Security Council or elsewhere, I think it's always France has always stood by India. France is one country, in addition to Russia, which has never imposed any sanctions against India. So we have seen whether it is the 1998
Yes.
a nuclear tests, or it was even before that, the 1974. There has been no sanctions that have been put against India.
Yes.
So I think there is a huge understanding, Uday, between India and France.
Okay.
And the uncertainties and the turmoil and the turbulence that we
Right.
see in the world today, I think that brings us even
Yes.
closer
And
together.
also with certain countries, Mitali, cracking down on visas, and this protectionism as far as travel is concerned as well. Big opportunities for higher education of India to also be spoken about, to try and attract more French students, to try and attract more European students. There is an event also in Paris, I think, that focuses on that towards the end of Prime Minister Modi's visit to France and Slovakia. Already there is, I think, an MoU expected on that too to be signed today. So clearly education also and skilling, this is again something where the two are converging.
Absolutely, Uday. See, look at the state of free speech in the US and look at the state of American universities. American professors who teach anything besides capitalism are today being removed summarily from their posts. They are being dismissed. And, all of American education is becoming so capitalist that it is unaffordable for common persons, leave alone whether it's Indians or Chinese or Japanese, any international student. It is very, very difficult to afford the fees, the living costs, and with the uncertainty of whether you will get a job there or not. Or look at the case of the recent student in the US from Telangana who was shot point blank. Nobody has any idea what happened or why that happened. So at the end of the day, we are in a situation where Indian students are looking at global education, but they also want to go to destinations where that global education is safe and where they can deploy those skills in any country that they want, be it India or Europe or the UK or elsewhere. And France, of course, offers that now, and especially now that a lot of leading universities in France are actually providing that education in English. Recognizing that English is a bridge language to several of the students that come from the global south. So I think really it's one of the areas of growth and cooperation between the two countries.
Indeed. Okay. Well, let me also, in fact, address the aspect of startups and entrepreneurs as well with you, Mitali, before I go back to Ambassador Sajjanar. For startups, this focus on innovation today, of course, at Bharat Innovates, but at the other event also in Paris towards the end of PM Modi's visit, also earlier too with the AI summit that PM Modi was invited to in France, to, of course, the India AI summit where where President Macron was invited to in India. We've seen a lot of collaboration and cooperation on areas of entrepreneurship, startups, AI, tech. How important is this for our startup sector in India, for our Make in India program as well, Mitali?
Absolutely, Uday. See, Uday, it actually is so organic. India is the land of opportunities, and France is the land of free speech. France is really where a lot of people in the historic, times of different civilizations would go to France because new ideas and liberalism, what was really the birthplace of liberalism, liberty, egalitarianism, all of these ideas came from France to the world. And that is also the seed of innovation. At the end of the day, the French have this moniker that you
Yes.
must not crush free
Okay.
thought. And that's where the new ideas come to the startups, to the
Okay.
tech industry, and the financing as well.
All right. Very quickly now, Ambassador Sajjanara, one key outcome that you're expecting from the Modi-Macron meeting today.
I think in the area of definitely as far as AI collaboration is concerned, semiconductors is concerned, and defense area, I think these are the three issues that I'll be looking out for in terms of specific outcomes where we can take it forward. I think both the countries have demonstrated their keen interest and intent to take the partnership forward, to take it to a much higher level. And these are areas where France has the capacity and capability, and India also can contribute, and both the countries can work together for that.
Yeah.
All right. Let's in fact also now examine another big aspect coming in of this Modi-Macron meeting ahead of that key bilateral meeting between India and France today.